Today's video is part of a series I'm filming called Back to Basics. For any golfers who are a little bit lost and struggling with their game, returning to the game, or perhaps a beginner golfer, in today's video we're going to be discussing the golf swing as a whole. I'm going to be really trying to keep it as simple as possible for you and show you some great exercises to improve your game. Welcome back to the TruGolf Academy. You've joined me, Jon Watts, today at Branston Golf and Country Club. Today's video, as I mentioned there in the intro, is part of a series I'm filming on Back to Basics. I just wanted to cover a few points that would really help a number of golfers. These don't necessarily need to be beginner golfers. It may be just someone who's got a little bit lost with their game, returning to the game after an injury or a layoff, and really is starting to struggle and wants to go back to some of those basics, some of those fundamentals. Today's video, we're going to be discussing a large part. We're going to be discussing the golf swing. So in some of these series, I'm talking about the grip, the setup position. Today, we're just talking about the golf swing as a whole. But I want to share with you a couple of simple drills that you can start to do on the driving range or in the garden to really start to build up your golf swing and make sure you're making a better overall movement. So I'm going to be focusing still with a mid-iron, a 7-iron here, but when we're talking about the golf swing, it's relevant with any golf club. So for me, the movement I'm making with a short iron to a mid-iron to a long iron to a wood doesn't change. It's the setup position that's starting to change here, but my golf swing itself is very much fundamentally the same movement that I'm trying to achieve. So what we're looking for, if I can talk about the golf swing as a whole and then break it down into a couple of exercises I want you to focus on, is we're looking to rotate our back to the target on the backswing, and then we're looking to try and rotate our chest towards the target on the way through. But if you ask someone to turn or to rotate, they're generally making a movement where they're standing up, they're coming out of posture. So in golf, because the ball isn't in front of us, it's down on the ground, we are starting in a tilted posture. We are creating a spine angle here of around 50 degrees, and we want to try and maintain that. And the reason we want to maintain our spine angle until impact is just for consistency of contact. The more moving parts there are, the harder it is to control. There are a couple of good players you will see who lift and extend on their backswing and maybe try and generate some more power from there. But if you're struggling with your game, as I said, if you're watching this video, we're talking about trying to make it simpler. We're trying to maintain spine angle. So what we've got to achieve is to maintain our spine angle, we've got to get our lead shoulder, so our lead side is my left side here that's closest to the target. We've got to get our lead shoulder moving down underneath my chin. So this lead shoulder needs to move downwards by 4 inches in my backswing for me to maintain posture. So I'm almost trying to move my left shoulder to about the buttons on my polo shirt. So I'm trying to get that feeling that my lead shoulder moves down and in front of me. Now when that happens, you'll see my trail shoulder moves up and behind me. I have rotated or coiled my backswing, but I've maintained my spine. Now, as I do that movement there, I want to feel the pressure through the inside edge of my trail foot, trail knee. It's going wrong if I'm feeling all my pressure onto my lead side, my side that's closest to the target, or if I'm starting to feel the pressure moving to the outside edge of my trail knee, trail foot, and you'll see more of a rolling or a swaying movement off the golf ball. I'm not worried if there is a little bit of head movement. Half a head's width movement on the backswing is perfectly acceptable. We just don't want to see an excessive movement off the golf ball. So a great drill that I have done a number of times, but it's an exercise I really love, is put a ball down to focus on. Put a marker 2 feet past the golf ball. So I'm just going to use a T-peg here. Now, if it's straight past the golf ball, that's me trying to get 90 degrees of shoulder turn. If you've got a little bit of a lack of flexibility or you're struggling with an injury, you may just move that T-peg a little bit closer towards your lead foot, a little bit closer towards the target, so you're not quite trying to stretch yourself to 90 degrees. I want you to get your maximum, and your maximum may be different to mine, may be different to someone else's, so, or will be. Whether it's more or less, let's just try and get to what you can achieve. So I want you to stand the right distance away from the golf ball, and I have filmed a video talking about the setup position in this Back to Basics series. So I won't dwell on it now, but make sure you check that one out. The link will just be here for you about the back to basics setup position. So I'm the right distance away from the golf ball. I'm going to hold the club across my shoulders. And what I'm trying to do on the backswing, and actually before I get on to that, I say hold the club across my shoulders. I see too many golfers down here closer to their arms. Really get it high up on your shoulders and as level as possible. And what we're trying to do is coil in our backswing where the grip end of the golf club is starting to point down at that tee peg. So you can see if I hold that backswing position, it's starting to point down at that tee peg. My lead shoulder has moved down underneath my chin, and I can feel the pressure on the inside edge of my trail foot. So that's my perfect backswing movement that I'm trying to achieve. I'm fully loaded, but I have maintained my spine angle. Now we can actually use this same drill for the downswing as well. So again, club across shoulders. What I want you to do this time is make sure the club head is past your trail shoulder, so past your right shoulder if you're right-handed. Again, club high up on shoulders. The backswing move is the grip end going to point down at the tee peg. It's 2 feet past the golf ball. The downswing move, I'm still going to focus on the golf ball. I'm going to gradually increase my pressure into my lead side on the downswing, so I feel it over here on my trail foot. As I start the downswing, it's going to move towards my lead side, my left side, and I'm trying to get the club over the top of the golf ball. Now, from a visual point of view, you won't see that here or perhaps on camera, but it looks like the club is going to strike the golf ball when you do this correctly. So it looks like that club is right over the top of the golf ball, and you can see that has really allowed my body to start to turn and unwind in the direction of the target, which is fantastic. It's a massive power source to coil correctly. We're not just looking for this sort of movement, we're definitely looking to coil up in the backswing and unwind in the downswing. So this exercise works fantastically. My pressure is all into my back foot on the backswing, my trail foot. That club is pointing down at that tee peg. I'm unwinding and applying pressure towards my lead foot gradually while keeping my head over the ball, and I look like I get that club over the golf ball. Now the finish position from there is just up. We're just turning and rising. So we're over the top of the ball, turning and rising. That is the whole golf swing. So that exercise really starts to work on backswing into impact and through impact into that finish position. It is a fantastic drill. If you are a beginner golfer or someone has said who's not played for a while, I would also do some exercises just trying to get contact, just trying to get strike from a smaller movement. So what we see with a lot of beginner golfers, or a lot of golfers who had a big layoff, is there tends to be a real hit with the hands at the golf ball and not enough body movement. So what I'd start with is just break the golf swing into a smaller part. So you're just going to be going back to around pocket height on your trousers and through to pocket height on your trousers. Now, what I want you to do as you do that, you're going to turn or coil again in your backswing, so that my left shoulder moves down underneath my chin, and then I'm going to be turning through here. And I'm just trying to go pocket height to pocket height, but allowing my head and my chest and my torso to turn, and my pressure is definitely feeling onto that lead side. You will get told, if you are a beginner golfer, a lot, keep your head down, and that's a very destructive move. So I want you to think more about watch the golf ball. Watch the club hit the ball. You won't see it, but watch the ball fly from this position. So I'm just going to go ahead and clip one away doing this. Watch the golf ball. So nice small movement. Just pocket height to pocket height, not putting any power into it, but you can see there I'm fully onto my left side, my lead side, and my body is starting to rotate open. That is a really key exercise for anyone who's struggling or getting back into it. The first exercise I showed you is for the whole golf swing. This part is working on a really vital bit, impact. So it's that little bit of the takeaway, back to impact, and that little bit of the finish position, the follow through. Let me hit one more shot for you just to finish up with. They're the two drills I would use. In this full golf swing, I'm just going to get that sensation of coiling correctly, turning around my spine angle. So my lead shoulder is going to go down underneath my chin, and then my trail shoulder, my right shoulder, is going to come and collect my chin on the way through to that finish position. Let me give it a whirl. I'm going to do it nice and smooth, nice and slowly. So lead shoulder moving down under my chin. And trail shoulder collecting my chin on the way through. You will again see from that position a nice balanced finish position here, all my pressure onto my lead side. I am striking the ground as I would expect to do with this mid-iron, but I got the ball and then the turf, meaning I'm getting that pressure really onto my lead side. We see with most golfers coming back into the game, this sort of movement, which is where that small exercise is so important. And the other exercise I really want you to do is for the whole golf swing, that coiling movement, turning around your spine. So we are coiling correctly in the backswing and in the through swing. If that video has helped, make sure you hit the thumbs up and do check out my other videos on this Back to Basics series. It's really going to help your game. Cheers guys, we'll see you soon.